Our next guests are entrepreneurs inspired by Tulsa's Black Wall Street, which was one of the most successful black economies in America in the early 20th century. Archer and Pine is a digital marketplace created especially for African American artists and designers. Morgan Gantt and Marc Clarke are the co-founders. They join us now. Welcome,
Hi.
guys.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, so walk us through this business a little bit, and where can we find this marketplace?
Sure. So Archer and Pine is located at ArcherPinecom, and it's a curated marketplace for Black creators, designers, and artisans to display their products. And you know, as much as it is about products, it's really, really heavily about storytelling. And Marc is really great about that, obviously, with his media background. So we really want to make sure that we're highlighting the artisans and telling their story in a really beautiful way.
So the brands have to have maybe an interesting story to be featured? Something unique about it?
Definitely, the story is a big part of it. I mean, basically, we have four things we look at.
Okay.
Morgan, we break down the four.
Sure.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, so we're looking for a unique story, obviously, something that's like the passion that goes into the product, whether it's like a family-owned business or there was an idea that sparked, you know, the product being developed in the first place.
So what's an example of a great story you have on the site?
Let's see, we have so many.
Pittman's,
Pittman's popcorn, yeah.
One of my favorites. Based in Springfield, Illinois, which of course Illinois known for the corn.
Right.
He's a popcorn guy, and he actually has a storefront there, but he has over 90 flavors. He's a former baseball player, former major leaguer. He's a serial entrepreneur, and this is something we're excited about because, you know, the flavors are amazing. He's found his passion, and again, the great tie into the Midwest and the corn and the whole thing. So, you know, those kind of stories where you have something where when people come to the site and they see your product, they also have their story, and hopefully the story inspires people not only to buy but also to maybe be inspired to do what they want to do or pursue a dream that they've had.
Well, it's true, when you connect with a company's story, you're more inclined to be attached to it, and you create that attachment by knowing that history. So I totally agree with that. So what are some of the biggest challenges for African American businesses?
Whoa. So, I mean, I think what we're trying to do is help a lot of companies get in business quickly and in a modern way.
Okay.
So let's say a company like, let's say Pittman's Popcorn, you know, they have an amazing storefront. He's totally ingrained in the community. The customers come into his store every day. They look for Mike, he's there, and his team. But for Mike to sort of go online to reach a larger audience, there's all the things that are associated with like a website, web development, dealing with a designer, understanding what you're looking for, trying to figure out if, trying to basically figure out if the things that they need to do digitally are sound. Okay, so getting online and being a business online is a business in itself, and then actually focusing on your product are two totally different things.
So you guys operate on that end of the spectrum to help the businesses.
Exactly.
So is it kind of like Etsy?
It is.
It is a little like Etsy, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they have their space, they set their own prices. Customers, they buy, obviously we facilitate the sale, but they're dealing directly with the brands. They have their own return policies.
And you're curating all of these
Yes, we
yourself? Okay, and so how does that process work? How are you finding these companies?
So in the beginning, you know, Marc has interviewed countless businesses over the years. So we really started with the ones that we knew, the ones that we felt were prepared. Going back to your question earlier, like how do we decide who's eligible or not? I think preparedness is the big thing. You know, we're looking for people who really, really want to grow and scale their business, not just the weekend warrior, not that we're knocking the weekend warrior, but we want to help companies that are prepared and want to do business with many.
So what's the split that the artisans get from sales versus the company?
So the artisans keep 80% of the transaction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many artisans do you have on the site now?
We have about 16 on the site right now.
Starting with 16, and we're ready. You know, we just launched Monday.
Yeah, so it's a week today. We're a week old.
Brand new.
Oh,
the new baby came out. The baby.
That's just a little
and now it's
baby.
ready to grow. It's ready to grow.
So do you want eventually to have maybe 50 or hundreds of people, or do you always want to maybe, you know, feature smaller numbers for a certain period of time?
We definitely wanted to be all about quality, not quantity. We wanted to have those unique stories. And again, our name Archer Pine is paying homage to Black Wall Street, which was destroyed in 1921. So it's kind of like, you know, sharing those stories with the world and kind of like giving these artisans an opportunity to have their, not only stories shared, but you know how it is online. Most people that have their businesses online, the sites aren't quite what they want. It never kind of looks, they can't afford to have the site they really want.
Right.
Well, Archer, we give them that site that they really want, something they're proud of, and something that they can share.
Definitely.
And what are the unique struggles for an African American business getting known, getting a brand? Like, what are those, and how do you help?
Well, I think that one of the main things is understanding what's required in order to function in the online space. I mean, and it's not just like, oh, I have a website, I'm online, but there's so many things about like your payment system and how it needs to be set up. There's APIs, like all the technical aspects. And then aside from those, I think that like the eye and how things need to look mobile. I think art direction is sometimes a challenge. I think also, you know, individual branding and marketing. So we do step in a little bit to help them. We give a lot of advice to the artisans about how they can maybe present their products in a better way online, how they can photograph them better. So we do, you know, hold their hand, and we're right there with them pretty much throughout the whole process.
And I guess the unique would be the access. I think traditionally the access for African American businesses and just in general, sometimes there's been a problem with access. And I think, again, Morgan's expertise in e-commerce really gives that business owner an opportunity to get all those questions asked, and also, like you said, how to prepare properly for it. Really, so access is probably the
Access in terms of access to capital, and access to resources.
Information.
access to information.
Experience, you know, working with somebody. We have a saying, we always say in the office, don't believe anybody that's not doing it.
Right.
That's a good saying for just anything in
Anything.
life, really.
Like, let's just slow down, you know,
Yeah.
and ask certain questions, because, you know, I think that being led down a road, if you've never been down the road, you don't know that you're going down the road until it's too late.
Right.
And then, like, the access to somebody, like you said, some proof of past performance, somebody who's actually done it, not in theory, but
Right.
someone who's actually done it. I think this weekend I went to the National African American Museum in Washington, D.C., and the stories that, the power of museums, it shares the world, it tells the world the story of the people and the struggles. And it's so important that everybody's aware of that. But I think, again, access, and again, being in a situation where you can talk to somebody who's done it, who's done what you want to do, has been something that people face. A lot of people in America face, regardless of race. But I think that is something that can be kind of unique, and that's what we provide, an opportunity to partner with people who've done it before, who can answer those questions. And of course, the e-commerce, there's so many questions, new questions in general for everybody. And so it's an interesting journey. I'm a baby boomer, she's a millennial. I'm the old school, she's the new school. So
That's
it's
a
kind of
perfect
like
pair.
What
It's
are
actually
the
pretty
products you're using most that are on the site?
Oh, wow. So I'm a sucker for the jams. I've got a sweet tooth. Jams by Kim are amazing. Kim's amazing. She's from Hillsborough, New Jersey, and she's been jamming.
Jamming, I love that. I've been jamming.
It's so funny. She's been jamming since she was a kid, because she's using her grandmother's recipes. So it's like a family thing.
That's a good story.
And they're really, really good. Exactly. So she quit corporate America, and she's been jamming full time for several years now.
I almost want to start making jam just so I can say I've been jamming for 3 months. Morgan and Mark, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having
Good luck.
us.